Okay. I believe I am up in public now. Is anybody watching? I don't watch already. Um, well, I just switched. Actually, I may be cleaning a little bit. So if you want to listen to me, I'll put on something for you to watch. Um,
인생이 이치에
uh, why not? I should write a better one. Grr. No, let's use this one. Starts out.
인생이 이치에 맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고 이해하게 됩니다. 인생이 이치에
No.
맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고 이해하게 됩니다. 인생이 이치에 맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고 이해하게 됩니다. 인생이 이치에 맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고 이해하게 됩니다. 인생이 이치에 맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고 이해하게 됩니다. 인생이 이치에 맞을 때 우리는 미소 짓고
I would describe my relationship with your son as
We can't do audio.
friendly.
She's saying I would describe my relationship with your son as
I would
friendly.
describe my
That was
relationship
something
with your
other than
son
sex.
as friendly. I would describe my relationship with your son
These
as
are videos I'm
friendly.
going to
I would describe my relationship with your son as friendly. I would describe my relationship with your son as friendly.
There we go.
I would
Without
describe
sound,
my
this one's
relation.
so good. I think I got a wide one that's full screen. No. Hey, why would I have to delete it? This. That's as good as it gets. Okay. So, okay. There are a few more fables later if anyone's watching out there. I ever did the Hare and the Tortoise. That's like the most famous one. This serves it. Into this question. I don't know what the difference between a garden variety hernia is and a hydel hernia. They always say hydel, do they? That's a stupid question, like asking what the difference between elephantiasis is and scrotal elephantiasis. Probably not quite. I've been struggling recently with my toluene yeast disorder. I get it from South America. Without the toxins. No, I finally got a dishwasher to wash the blender. I can buy ice cream and milkshakes again. Sonic makes good milkshakes, but we're not near our business. And those McDonald's ones are just so thick. It's like they put some sort of chemical in this. This is not really just ice cream at all. They probably do. You can probably get something that has the ingredients of everything they have. It's probably labeled viscosity agent or something like that. We can't tell people what it is. That's a trade secret. Oh, water. God, I need water. That's gonna bug me. I gotta find the full size one of that. It's probably on Gemini available for download still. But I think I have my computer. If it is on my computer, it would be under downloads. 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 Here we go. Okay. You wouldn't believe how much, wasn't a huge amount of work, but it took a while to get her to tug it over bells like that. And notice she glances down at the skin she exposes. That was intentional too. They didn't do it quite hard one. She'll tell you nonsense with it. That man just wants to fuck me. Yeah. He says that. He says that because he just was. It's God. Writes fucking poems. Uh, Mm. You get in the fox, right? Absolutely. That's one. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. So the third meal today. Yeah, I had to stay up all night to make my hair appointment. I know. I'm so good with vitamins these days, though. I took 2 extras because back in September, I canceled on 20 minutes notice, and she's old, like 80 old, and she does 2 appointments a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So I cost her 10% of a week's revenue there. As I said, I'll tip you double next time. I didn't have it. So it'll be $100 next time. And I had to give her the $100 because it can go up, right? Because I woke up at the insomnia broke from. Oh damn it! Stop that. The insomnia broke from running out early because my brother was here and I had to be awake. Excuse. So after like 6 days, the insomnia breaks and I sleep 14 hours. I wake up at 4 p.m. I have a hair appointment at 3 p.m. the next day, and wait for it. And I just take one at a time until I actually have to drive, right? And then I don't eat for 9, 10 hours, and then sleep for 14. And I don't eat, so 3 meals today, 4 probably by the time I go to bed. The first month, I really was in 20 years. Something scared me bad. I decided I gotta get straight with the Adderall, and I felt confident I could do it. The insomnia was so bad that I got exhaustion sickness. It was just jangly all over and vibrating underneath it. And this guy comes by one morning before dawn just to check up on me, and basically friendly, neutral. And I tell him this. He says, "How long have you been feeling that way?" I said, "3 days." He says, "You liar, you'd be dead." Well, I was telling the truth. I was sleeping 4 hours a night. I've been sleeping 4 hours a night for about 2 weeks. So to have the insomnia break after 6 days, it was nice. I'll probably be up all night tonight. My rule is very simple. If 7 a.m. rolls around, it is the start of a new day, and you can take that day's Adderall um, to a day. Because it's that the rule is that way because of the insomnia. Because yeah, might be awake for 2 or 3 days straight the first month. I didn't have it this month, but I did lie awake until 7 a.m. once and took it. My psychiatrist told me out now. He said, "I don't care if you do that. If you can't sleep and take the next day's dose, just don't take it all at once." He didn't even say that. I just implied that. But I have discovered that yet another disincentive to abusing amphetamines, prescription amphetamines, Adderall anyway, is that if you do it and you go full bore to the end of the bottle and run out 12 days early, eh. But if you do it and then right the next day go back to the prescribed dose, you feel like fucking shit. Oh God, for the first 9 hours today, I felt like shit. I slept 14. It was more than enough to catch up. I just felt like living hell. There were no cravings. It's not I need an Adderall. No, I just felt like shit. Uh, so apparently the ruling is, and my psychiatrist, my talk therapy psychiatrist for 13 years, who once said, if you want to have sex, Mike, and you're not, the problem is that you're not focusing enough, being taking extra amphetamine. So apparently one extra for a bar for a night out, but that's it. Oh God. Oh, incidentally, Adderall and Dexedrine and Ritalin are all prescribed to provide focus, is the word that the psychiatrists use, focus. They're also prescribed for depression, rarely, but sometimes. In extreme cases, and even then, Ritalin only, I believe. No, that's not true. Once the psychiatrist has made the decision to prescribe an amphetamine, the choice of amphetamine to prescribe is 100% up to him. Yeah, because my shrink told me. I had a shrink. I have a psychiatrist. It's a term of affection. Um, I was very depressed, and he put me on 15 milligrams, 5 milligrams for 3 times a day, and asked me about a month later, so is that helping? I said, I feel a bit buzzed for about 2 hours after I take it, but then nothing. So it was Pontefin. I said, you could see the future coming. I didn't want me to. All those years lost. Important thing is, I came out on top. I came out with Adderall. Could have been taken away, and I wouldn't have the courage to kill myself because it would have been a smart thing to do. It would be. My dad used to hold the Adderall, right? Dexedrine was Dexedrine before Adderall. But my dosing was irregular because I'd steal them and be up and down the whole month. And maybe I couldn't have done anything anyway because I was hoping in some weird way for something from him. I don't know what exactly. But then he died, and 5 years of my life went in the toilet because I wasn't managing amphetamines for shit. And now life is possible. Well, except for the neighbors. I took a damn phone call. A woman who watched my vlog, who somebody scared off, clearly from the text she sent me the next day. She was sounding so anxious I wouldn't call her back. Um, I took a 2.5 hour phone call, and the neighbors go nuts. I said sarcastically a few times, have we unanimously decided as a neighborhood that I can accept phone calls? And the truth is, we haven't yet. Not everybody here believes that I should be able to take phone calls. And so I'm going to NCIS because he's with the Navy. If you don't know, NCIS is like the Navy FBI. They investigate Navy people. They have a web form to fill out. Wait till Monday. Get it done by Monday morning. And yeah, they want like the bumper stickers on their cars and shit like that. And then Thursday or Friday, maybe Thursday after hours in the evening, I'll write my senators, my congressman in the House, and my representative in the state legislature. The reason being is to get the NCIS complaint past the bullshit screener or call screener, however you want to look at it, to make sure it gets to somebody's desk where it's actually taken as a serious complaint. Because there are 3 people around here who I know will vouch for me being abused, and it was even Ted's information too. I don't know what he can do, and I also don't know what he wants to do. I don't know how much that factors into things. If he can withhold information he's gathered under the guise of course, I'm going to write him and say, please reveal anything you can to them. But he can't interpret that as official communication for me because I have to hand him off because my aunt's got him to block me. And the thing is I don't know how much he can reveal, but I know I worry that he thinks I'm overstating. He probably doesn't. He probably does think I'm overstating the misery of it. I'm not. He probably thinks I do because it's just human nature. We want our own problems. I could live that life and I could have done it a lot better. It's just human nature. I can see him saying, I wouldn't fight a subpoena. I'd see him saying that. Because it's not a matter whether he talks to them or not. He's a witness of fact. He has to talk to them. Just like anybody else. I had to spend a whole damn morning with NCIS and pay for that. But my thought is he might have compunctions, knowing the sentences for the crimes to turn all the signed settlements, etc., over, because then the NCIS might go to the local authorities and say, hey, you folks need to do something about this when the police officers haven't been doing anything about it. It's going to fix the problem for the night, and sometimes not even that. I had a pig ask, why should I help you once? I fucking hate cops now with a passion when they begin to understand the most basic, fundamental expectation I have of them. Equal protection under the law. They dangle over my head like it's a toy. Oh, I fucking hate pigs. And there was a congressman, National House Representatives, many years back, early 90s, I think. I don't know if he was running for re-election, probably not. Said police are scum, just shoot one and throw them in a dumpster. And more or less the same way. Necessary evil, debatable. Actually, that's not so. I mean, seriously, those pigs that come here don't deserve this motherfucking asshole. It's just the truth. One of those fucking pigs killed himself. He popped his own top. I don't know the damn sure, but he actually did. Jesus Christ, everyone do. We threw a party. I told a pig who came here, I'm not fucking making this up. I said a woman was whispering. I pointed it like a point, a foot from the door, up from the floor by the door. I said, that's a hate crime. I'm schizophrenic and she knows. He says, well, not necessarily. Come on, a foot from the fucking floor? Like she's, Christ, the shit! The fucking shit! When the final solution comes along, I hope to God they're fucking listed. Of course, I didn't know them. I know now, which is I demand you pursue it as a potential hate crime investigation or something like that. That's the word you use with pigs. Remember that, demand. I demand that you arrest him. I said, well, we don't really want. I demand that you demand. That's the fucking word to use with that. It's fucking shit. Demand. I don't really want to knock on. I don't want to knock on that door. I demand that you knock on that door. Demand, because they will say that. I don't want to knock on that door at 3 a.m. I demand that you knock on that door. Because they don't give a fuck about you. They just want to get back in their squad car and listen to their book on tape. That's not fitting in the bag. Oh, meatballs. Meatballs. You know, there's probably another pig in this neighborhood who, well, I don't really, there's no way he's going on a killing spree. I'm not going to talk about work about this. There's no need to. They're just shit. That's it. That right there is a micro, because there was one for years, for sure. That's a microcosm for the fucking human shit police officers are, right there. This is what these folks do. Constitutes, I believe, conspiracy to commit manslaughter. They peel my days back one at a time and fill them with psychotic instability, bullshit drama where I have to talk to them or else I have to listen to them ridicule me or make demands of me or tell me why they hate me. Will you just, whatever, right? Or else I have to engage them, or they just will not fucking leave me alone unless I am destroying my time on my own by playing a video game or something like that, but not doing anything productive. Which they'll even end up cleaning, right? So the thing is they're destroying my days one at a time. It's conspiracy to commit manslaughter, if not conspiracy to commit murder. That's what I'm hoping. That's my fucking wet dream for all this, is what Ted turns over, gets sent to the goddamn prosecutor's office by NCIS and turned into a conspiracy to commit murder investigation. Because this shit deserves to die in fucking prison, believe me. And half these fucking retards, does he mean that? Anyway, this big open. Cunt! Close your window. Do not speak to me. I am not speaking to you. Do not fucking speak to me, cunt. See, that's the sort of shit I'm talking about right there. My cunt fucking neighbor hears me bitching about her and her worthless crackhead fucking boyfriend whose daddy is somebody, and I gotta fucking take shit from her. I wasn't even bitching about them in particular. Freddie Mercury. I think it's 22, but big. What? Incidentally, first of all, it's not a slur, pejorative, or variation of vagina. It's not. It's its own word. It comes from the High Norse stem kuton, Kuton, arising through Grimm's law, operated upon by the Proto-Indo-European root gengon, create, become, seen in gonads, gametes, genetics, etc., and the Proto-Indo-European root gwengun, woman, seen in gynecology. No significant influence upon the word is the sound ku, which is one of the oldest sounds in spoken language. It's quintessentially associated with femininity. Queen, female monarch. Cow, female animal. Cunt, female genitalia. The second most significant influence upon the word is the Latin word cuneus, wedge, coming from cunus, vagina. As you can see, there's nothing valuating in any of this. There just isn't. But what's the opposite of beautiful? Well, we need a word for it. It's ugly. You can't call people ugly. That's bad. Qualitatively negative characteristics take on pejorative status. At least the terms for them do. But what's qualitatively negative about having a vagina? It's women who complain about this word. People don't see the irony. No wonder. Wonder. There you go. But it's precisely that the possibility, and it is possible, given that it's been going on so long and they show no intention of slowing or stopping, of a conspiracy to commit murder charge. And they've even had clubs. I remember the first one was named the Sisterhood. I stopped paying attention. Um, it might make Ted cringe, but it shouldn't. Well, his point was ignorance, but no, they my house of agony. So, my understanding arrived out on my own about sentencing guidelines is that you make the criminal suffer enough to create a symbol for the victim that he is no longer a victim. And this would be appropriate. Now that every one of them paid that was free. I thought about if I get the job and if get my aunt off the trust and just carry a ripe suit against the condominium complex that Ted would take. Using the extra money from my job to pursue the conspiracy case on my own. You can say, well, I, when the police decide not to pursue something, I don't think there's any quandary, ethical quandary about hiring somebody to pursue it if the police ought not to. So, hmm. The thought about it. It just depends on what else is going on in my life. I think that it'd be gratifying to show up for the verdict without the sentencing. They probably both take place at once. It would be gratifying if I had the opportunity to be there to see them pronounced guilty and to show them that I didn't care what happened. Mm. Mm. Yes. No, if there's anyone that's I just fired the complaint form off to NCIS. If they do contact you, please provide them with any material they request you feel will be helpful in the investigation or that you feel they might provide to the prosecutor's office locally for an investigation. I think things were bad today, and two or three of my neighbors talked with him, and they died down for mostly. they're always mad when they're told they have to stop by someone in a position to destroy their lives. Um, and after hearing how bad things have been, I think of that. They will also understand my desire for him. He'll understand that progress is not being made with his methodology, so perhaps he will. Like that is the key fact. My aunt probably told him not to pursue criminal charges, not to so much as pick up a phone to the prosecutor's office if he couldn't sue to recoup his fee, because she collects 4% of the trust every year. And she loves the idea of him suing, I'm sure, but yeah, it's just who she is. It turns out. I don't think my dad, Um, yes. My brother who put my countertops on. This is an example of my aunt's abuse/neglect. What was it? 2 years ago, October, she moved me into an extended stay hotel so she could have this place fanned out for mold. And then she never had them put new countertops on, never had them scrape the mold off. I called myself, and she said, well, there's a note in your file, and then they wouldn't do it right. I swear to fucking God. Now, 2 years later, my brother comes and puts countertops on for me. But, of course, yeah, he's high, obviously. He's always high. But I don't blame him for a minute because he bought me a bed. He did all this on his own dime. The labor, the parts, the bed, all of it. He did because he just felt bad for me. And he left a pot in one of the drawers and put the countertop on top of it, and now you can't open the drawer. Presumably, the countertops are glued on. Because all countertops are, you can't drive nails through this stuff, but hopefully somebody can scrape it off at some point and get that pot out. The, the worst of what there's a lawyer. He had to be a lawyer. He looks like Jimmy Kimmel before he lost the weight when he first took over that show. Except he's taller. He has an accent that's from up north, but I don't know where exactly. And he came by one night at like 1:30 a.m. He stood out on the damn sidewalk. I was a mess. I was talking to hallucinations for 50 minutes an hour, and he stood there and listened. And then in 10 minutes I spoke to him. He talked back, and I started talking to hallucinations again. In the morning, I realized, Jesus Christ, I opened the door. I said, does anybody see? He's still there, and the pool's open, right? I look out, and he leans forward and smiles at me through the window. And the same guy, what he tells me is, I have this melted pitcher. When the kitchen cabinets go, or the kitchen countertops go, the sink goes as well. And I have a Brita pitcher. And the Brita pitcher won't fit into the bathroom sink. And so I had this regular, like, orange, frozen concentrated orange juice pitcher. You put the, or Kool-Aid or what have you. And, it can fill up high enough to fill the Brita pitcher. Then I leave it too close to the oven burner, it gets melted, and if it leaks, and it can't do that with it anymore. He tells me, he says, that should have been replaced. That alone constitutes abuse. But I don't even bother telling her about this stuff anymore because she doesn't answer my fucking emails. But I fear she's screwing herself up really hard by not doing, because I can say that with honesty. My car handle door is broken. I can't get out from the inside. But then I realized I can roll the window down. And she said, well, I'm not giving some stranger she answered that one, I'm not giving some stranger my credit card number. Never mind, she's a goddamn accountant, has a full understanding of the fraud protection services credit card companies offer, I'm sure. And never mind the fact that we can confirm the phone number of the auto shop so she can recognize it on the caller ID. Again, stuttering has to work up. And never mind any of this, she just won't do it. And I can't get my car inspected as a result. So I'm going to pay for it myself. And so the car, because the sticker will peel off and will be more likely to be stopped after 2 weeks. And so I have a car that hasn't been inspected in 3 years. Safety inspected. So, but she's worked herself into a position where there's no reason to write her, unless it's life and death. So they'll just pile up in time on its own over the next year or two. If I get the money together to put together a decent argument that she should be removed. And I suspect that Ted asked one very innocuous question of my dad during all of this, and my dad just said, sure, okay, too. It will make things easier for me, I suspect. But it almost makes me wonder, it's paranoid coming from anybody, whether my aunt doesn't want to get the job because she's getting that 4% a year for doing nothing, having the lawsuits pile up instead. I almost wouldn't put it past her. It's not cruelty. You have to understand it better than that. It's, I want to show you that I can do this, just the motivation. I'm just certain of it. Well, that's something else. Pacing too much after my back. Oh, yeah, I can do while the calls are coming. One sec. This is neat. If it comes up, it went down accidentally. I don't know how. I should be more vigilant. Check twice a day. That's not cool. Went down for 3 days, and the job response is just boom. So apparently it's really good because it's responsible for him. But the coding end of it is not amazing. This has something for Java, and it's a summary of it. And I let Jim and I write the summary, and the reason I did that is I figured A, it would be fair, and don't say. Don't say you're an expert at something unless you can establish you're an expert at something. Well, Gemini can. And B, I wouldn't write it in the right tone. And B, I was struggling with this. I came up with this as a solution, which I thought was really good, and then it just wouldn't have worked. And so the bio, the resume, which opens a link in another, and then GitHub, which is a code repository for programmers to share code, typically to collaborate with projects, but also to show off stuff that they've done. And then LinkedIn, which you've heard of, and then different languages. This is what I like the best. Look at this. Here's a breakdown of why this code is a sophisticated piece of design engineering. And then here, the SVG definitions create a visual style that feels pulled straight from a high-end 1980s graphic design portfolio. I love that. But then in Gemini design less so this. I got a little bit of a running start when I'm out on this. But Gemini, I did it. But it said, look at this. I did it. But it told me what it should look like. It did this. It did this. In each part, as I read it and looked at it, I thought, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. How am I ever going to do this? I did, and so I short order too. I have to have turned down. I did not draw these images. Gemini came up with these images. These are for short stories. And this unscheduled openings, the story is, I don't know if stories can be comedies. I think it's funny as hell though. But desktop, Word, no, downloads, yes, downloads. Oh, here, it's just my desktop. Well, here it is. I made my desktop recently. Unscheduled openings, a story of costumes, chemicals, and the river. The part on the Texas Hold'em off. I never read that story. This is the original cover it came up with for it. And then it had this idea that the theme should be gold and violet mist. And so gold and violet mist it was. And I learned a little bit. I asked for any additional information about Art Deco from this, because this is Art Deco. And you can see it if you know Art Deco. Here's some little bit of proof here, columns. 2 columns and very short that. And how you do columns on web pages, you don't see it, do you, right? Because you don't read all the way to the bottom on one column and scroll all the way back to the top of the page. Well, you do it with these page dividers. Well, wait a second here. What if somebody resizes their window? Well, somebody can resize their window. And the page dividers automatically reorganize. So that was a little bit of work there, but yeah. It goes a priority. And this is not the actual manual. The actual manual was like 35 pages, but there's no way I was redoing the whole thing. This is the manual for the IT program. We got kind of right. It told me to do it this way. It said have a black column that is 1/3 of the width of the page and had the really big section headings, and even told me to do these goddamn lines. It said to do that for NeoDeco. And anyway, Gemini's amazing. You should pay the $20 a month for it. And I'll probably get a job in half the time because of 5 minutes of Gemini. I haven't been able to look since Tuesday because the fucking shit, the shit out there. It's Wednesday morning. I swear to God, I got to the bottom of the stairs. The stairs have carpet. The floor is laminated wood. I put 3 steps on laminated wood, and I heard a whisper at the window Wednesday morning. And it always is part of a problem I'm having with my girlfriend because, yeah, right. I didn't take anxiety pill with a second Adderall. That's probably that's what worked out. If I like cops and fucking anything. Yeah, enforce the law. I get that. But wait, when I need you, when you're supposed to enforce the law for me, you're not going to do that? Yes, yeah. My neighbor's house, they have audio telescopes. I think that's why she stuck her next to it and everything is wrapped up in that. I think they were hoping it was before the police thing, wasn't it? I heard there was I don't remember. No, it was after. It was after. I have to get hurt. No, who cares? Hmm. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh God! Well, no, there's snow on the ground. They wouldn't come by. I don't. The cameras have been turned off. Well, it's turned off the website, right? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it occurred to me that the problem with the single parent model for it's self-perpetuating in a bad way because a lot of these women, the ones that don't want to work, the ones who have kids because they don't want to work, get husbands by having kids because they don't want to work. Um, they teach their sons with that man, and never mind, I wouldn't look at it, right? But they need to make a lot of money to get a whore. I mean, sometimes they're quick track, with swimming, right? And then He wants to fuck his mommy again. That's why exactly. And then the single mother with a daughter. Your father was just when your father was. This guy's a complete prick, but he makes a good living, and so it repeats. And the solution is to make sole custody less appealing. And the way to do that is to make it less financially appealing, because almost any mother out there will provide for her child what her child needs. If my child needs it, he will have it. Absolutely needs. And so they will get jobs, part-time jobs, what have you, to supply what their child needs. They wouldn't do it for themselves, because that's how mothers are, right? Most of them. I like to believe. But there are mothers who aren't. Example, poor mothers whose children get fed at school the last 2 days of the month, and there's a pot of rice at home so their mommy can drink. Those mothers. That's the reason that the system is broken. And society is broken to an extent as well. Because the least among us need to be cared for, the children of these mothers. Kept alive, because let's face it, cops have seen it, how bad some people truly have it, and they despise each and every fucking one of them. That's what I recall. I haven't my fill of this. One more fable, and then that's I might read something around, actually. No, I'll see that. Um, I know what I can read. I wrote a white paper on 21 page. I wrote a white paper on the human condition. I think it's fucking brilliant. Oh god, it's on my blog somewhere. It's on Facebook. If not, if I can find it here, it's well worth listening to. What I mean. Maybe it's on my blog. I mean, stochastic isn't coming up with anything. I know I use that word. That's on Facebook. Let's save a copy on my computer in case Facebook goes down. And we wouldn't want the main life to be lost. Anything I'm joking, you'll find out what it is in a minute. Okay, here we go. Stochastics in the human condition, a study in structural uncertainty. Abstract. This paper explores the convergence of stochastic processes, specifically the mathematics of probability, with the internal architecture of the human condition, utilizing the persona of April, who's a character from a pornographic story I wrote. As a case study, we examine how an individual with a high-order grasp of mathematical probability, estimated at 1 in 10,000, navigates the tailspin of psychological instability. We argue that the human experience is not a linear narrative, but a series of overlapping spheres of probability where the eternal now creates a state of dead stare absorption. 1. The stochastic individual, probability versus perception. The narrator in Cruz identifies as a PhD candidate in mathematics with a concentration in probability. This high intellectual register serves as a structural anchor against an increasingly chaotic personal reality. Structural deficits. The narrator describes an inability to conceptualize a life without pre-existing ideas, leading to a blank mind despite a high cognitive energy. The eternal now. In stochastic terms, this represents a Markov property. The future state depends only on the current state, rendering past trauma or future planning mathematically irrelevant and psychologically paralyzing. Calculated risk. April engages in high-risk behaviors, substance abuse, gambling on cockfights, transactional sex, treating these not as moral failings, but as variables to be tested within international waters where social rules are suspended. 2. Modeling submission, the geometry of ownership. The desire for ownership and possession can be modeled as a quest for a fixed variable in a system of high entropy. The catalyst of will. April seeks to become an extension of the partner's will until she is a projection of their identity. Manifestation versus imitation. The relationship with daddy figures, David, Miss Bruce, is described as a demonstration of control where the submissive becomes a copy of the dominance manifestation. Bayesian intimacy. April's interactions involve constantly updating her facade based on new data from her audience, seeking to be perfectly known to reduce the shame of the unknown. 3. Case study, the tailspin, a random walk. The tailspin is a recurring motif, representing the loss of trajectory. The mathematical feature is a state of high disorder. The correlating psychological manifestation is crying in public, vomiting, and, in quotes, losing my mind. Mathematical curve fitting in artificial intelligence. Psychological paint by numbers life stalled at the finish line. Mathematical identity is the effective facade. Psychological, in quotes, I don't know who I am anymore, but I'm always playing to an audience. 4. Conclusion, the limits of mathematics. While April can help with curve fitting and admits that the AI, the mind, how it works, is forever beyond the scope of the discussion, the ultimate paradox is a human who understands on the order of 1 in 10,000 yet cannot solve the basic problem of being happy because she cannot conceptualize the approach. I want, in quotes, I want to love me because I'm my own greatest desire and love you by the same token. I don't want to be able to distinguish between loving me and loving you. The stochastic human condition, therefore, is to struggle to find a pure magic truth within a fantasy of one's own construction. So there you have it, the meaning to life. Good luck.